Okay, let's go. Come on. Where's Edna?
She's in the car.
Good. Come on, kids. Get your butts in the car. Go.
Don't you want to look at the Grand Canyon?
Great.
Lynn and I are getting ready to embark on a really long RV trip. Last year with Carrie, we spent 2 weeks in Canada, but this is the longest trip we've ever taken in an RV. And because of that, we have planned and worried and fretted. So the first thing we're worried about would be our Westlake tires that we have on the new RV. This Grand Design RV came with these tires that many on the internet call China bombs. They have a tendency to blow on long trips, so we're really concerned about that. So to mediate that, we've added a tire pressure monitoring system to each one of the tires, and then we mounted that inside the truck so that while I'm rolling down the road, I can keep track of the tire temperatures and their pressure. While that won't mean we won't have to stop, maybe it will mean we can get off the road before it destroys the RV and destroys the trip in the process. And speaking of new RV, this Grand Design Reflection 29 RS, we love it. It looks like it's going to be perfect for what we want to do, but it is new. So we took it on a 4-day shakedown trip just right after we did the PDI to make sure we caught everything. Another thing we were concerned about is being able to back this new RV into tight sites in the national parks and other places, and also safety on the road for blind spots. It came pre-wired for a Furrion backup camera, so Amazon came to the rescue. We ordered that and I put that in. It only took a few minutes, and I think that's going to help quite a bit. This RV has quite a bit of storage, but we wonder if it's got enough for us to make an almost month-long trip. Plus, if you add to that the fact that I'm traveling with 2 females who think that packing light means taking 25 pairs of shoes apiece, well, we tried to minimize that. And Lynn has participated in making sure we don't take too much. And Carrie's really starting to try to do the same thing. We've also watched a lot of videos about how to make more use of the space you have in an RV. We've purchased these containers that are collapsible at Walmart, and we put them in the drawers. Here's an example of how we're folding the t-shirts and underwear and other things in a burrito style to make better use of the space. Another issue we think we're going to have, and we're pretty sure because we've done this a bunch, is park Wi-Fi's are just terrible. And we usually don't have anything to help with that. But to kind of get ready for that, we purchased a Wi-Fi booster that we can put inside the RV that can connect to the Wi-Fi hotspots at all these places we go and hopefully amplify that some. We also had a few other concerns. We're concerned about safety while we're there. All these things usually have these same keys for the outside compartments, and it's always a pain to have to carry the keys around with you. So we purchased a combination lock off of Amazon, and I switched out the ones that use those keys so that would work. We also purchased a surge protector, which we're hoping will help minimize the risk of plugging into park RV power. We also purchased something that may seem silly, but we got a bunch of those little bitty orange cones, and when we park at parking lots and other places, we put those orange cones out so that it'll help us with 2 things. Maybe other folks will see it and not pull in and hit our RV or our truck when we're parked there. But more importantly, I can put those things in places where I usually bump my head when I'm walking under the nose of the RV or one of the doors or something. So they're going to come in handy. Those are the things we're doing to prepare the RV. Now what about the things that we're concerned about while we're on the road? The first one is that we're going to be traveling more than 5,000 miles. We're worried about fatigue and we're worried about boredom. So in order to combat that, instead of us traveling 300 to 350 miles per day, what we've decided to do is that we're going to travel a long distance in 1 day and then stay at a destination that we want to visit for 2 days and then get back in the truck and travel another long day and then repeat that process until we get out to the Grand Canyon. We're traveling with a teenage granddaughter, and that adds a lot of excitement for us and for her. But it also has the capability for her to get really bored. So what we're doing to combat that is we took an iPad that we weren't using anymore. We downloaded a bunch of music and games and movies, and we got some earbuds, and we're going to stick those things in her ears and let her just be entertained while we drive. It's a long ways for us, and so we're pretty sure we're going to get bored as well. So we've downloaded a few Audible books that we like to listen to, And we'll spend a lot of the time while we're riding trying to decide what we want to do when we get to each one of these cities, and probably doing a lot of entertaining our granddaughter while we're rolling down the road as well. If you've never planned a 5,000-mile trip in an RV, then you have no idea how difficult it is. How far can you travel each day? How much do you want to push yourself? There are just so many questions you have to answer. Luckily, we found this app, the RV Trip Wizard. It saved our tails. We're able to plan just about everything that we wanted to with this one app. And I'll do a complete review of that at a later date. But let me just tell you now, this trip was made much easier by this app. And I really appreciate the developers. When you drive an RV, you get a real appreciation for the guys that drive the big trucks, especially if your truck's a diesel. One of the things I have to do is I have to plan where the pilot stations are, the Loves or Flying J's, so that we can get in there easily and fill up with DEF and fill up with fuel and stretch our legs. The Trip Wizard app really helped a lot in doing this. It helped us plan how far we can make it between each fuel stop and make sure that I plan the fuel stops that were most convenient on the trip. Another thing we're really concerned about is that we're traveling really close to the 4th of July and things are going to be really, really crowded. Usually Lynn and I would just fly by the seat of our pants and not make any reservations. But since it's so likely to be crowded and we're going to one of the most popular destinations on earth, we took the time to make reservations for every night we're going to be going on this trip. Like I said, it's not something we would normally do. Probably a lot of you don't do that as well, but since our granddaughter Carrie is traveling with us on this trip, we decided to splurge and to stay at KOAs almost every night of the trip. That way she can have a pool to relax. She loves to play in the pools, but most teenagers do. We do too. So we'll have a pool to relax in at night. We're pretty certain that the electricity and water and all the amenities will be good. And that way we'll have one less thing to worry about on the trip. And since there's very little cell phone service in the national parks and it's spotty other places, I've done a few things I normally wouldn't do. I've downloaded all the maps to my phone so that I can have access to those if we don't have internet. And I've also printed out the itinerary, all of our reservations, and so we also had concerns about our truck. We changed the oil. We did a major cleaning and reorganization on the inside of it. We even bought a little trash can that we can put in there to try to keep it neat, because when you travel that many days in a vehicle, it can get really messy in a hurry, especially with the teenager. We also changed the fuel filters and the air filters. We did a complete DEF service, not because I wanted to, but because we had a failure with DEF fluid. There's another video I just did that you can link to right up here. That way you can see that. We also changed the truck tires just a few months back, not because of this trip, but because they just needed it. Once we make it all the way there, we're really concerned about all the hiking we plan to do. The first thing is, will Carrie be able to handle that? We've been working with her to try to get her to do more hiking, but we're really concerned about that, and we'll have to just wait and see how she does. The other thing is, it's going to be hot. Most of the days when we're not up high in the elevation are going to be over 100 degrees, and it's desert heat, and Lynn and I and Carrie are not used to that. We've learned that we probably each need to carry at least a gallon of water each on the hikes, and we plan to do that. We definitely plan to do that early in the morning. We also want to go early in the morning because we know that most of these parks are going to be extremely crowded by 11:30 or 12 o'clock every day. So we're going to try to go early so we can beat the crowds and beat the heat. We're also concerned that some of the major things that we may want to do, like riding a mule down into the canyon or going on a river ride, it may be so crowded that we just can't do it. It may turn out to be a mistake, but we haven't booked any of those activities in advance. We're not sure how we're going to feel. We're not sure what we're going to want to do. So we're going to wait till we get there to see how things are going before we book those. Well, there you have it. Those are the things we're really concerned about. Not like we need a list to worry about, but we're really worried about a lot of things on this trip. It's our first really big, long road trip, so we probably have missed a few things. If you see from watching this that there are things that you think we should be concerned about that you don't see listed here, please let me know in the comments. Also, if there are things that you think we're worrying about too much that we need to just let it ride, we'd appreciate you sharing that in the comments as well. If you haven't already done so, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. We're going to let you know how we did planning later on. I'll also make a follow-up video about the Trip Wizard. And then the next video that's going to be coming up are the things that we spent money on in getting ready for this trip. The list is long. It is so long. And it's freaky scary to think that we bought so many things to go on this trip. Many of them we'll be able to use as we continue traveling. But I think you'll be amazed at the things we had to put in that new RV just to feel comfortable. Thanks a lot for watching. See you down the road.